Elon Musk absolutely bodied Mark Cuban in a Twitter exchange, and we're going to check that out in this video. It all started from this tweet from Ed Krasenstein. It says, "I don't think DEI is racism, but it definitely can have some major flaws that should be addressed." I honestly don't care about the rest of the tweet, but here is what he was responding to. A tweet from Elon Musk saying, "DEI is just another word for racism. Shame on anyone who uses it." And then Ed Krasenstein quote tweeted that, kind of explained his point of view. Then Elon Musk responded to that and said, "Discrimination on the basis of race, which DEI does, is literally the definition of racism." And then, of course, the idiot Mark Cuban had to insert himself into this situation, making himself look really stupid because he looks very, very hypocritical after these tweets. And two, Elon Musk absolutely bodied him because of this hypocrisy. Mark Cuban responded to Elon Musk's tweet and said, "Let me help you out and give you my thoughts on DEI. Diversity. Good businesses look where others don't to find employees that will put your business in the best possible position to succeed. You may not agree, but I take it as a given that there are people of various races, ethnicities, orientation, etc. that are regularly excluded from hiring consideration. By extending our hiring search to include them, we can find people that are more qualified. The loss of DEI phobic companies is my gain." Well, if you're gaining so much from it, I don't know why you're so butthurt about it. But also, I've been around a lot of business owners recently. You know, I kind of left YouTube to build up some businesses. I was around a lot of business owners, some people who are very, very wealthy. And let me just tell you, none of them care about race. There's not a single person out there who I've met who is very, very successful in business who says, "I only hire this type of person, even if there's people of these colors or this gender that's better than them. I will only hire a white male because they're a white male." Like, nobody does that. All these people are doing are trying to create, one, a good business culture, a good culture around their business, and two, create good cash flow, create good profits, get good employees to work for them to do the jobs that they need to be done. None of them care about the color. None of them care about the gender. None of them care about any of this stuff. Can you provide me value? Are you a good person? Cool. Let's get to work. That's all they care about. And even like when it comes to making connections with other business owners, even when they're not hiring, when you walk into a room of people with a lot of money, none of them are worried about race. None of them are worried about gender. It's straight up, can you provide me value? I can also provide you value. Cool. Let's work. Let's connect. Let's network. You know, it's stuff like that. Nobody's actually caring about this stuff. And Mark Cuban knows that. He just wants to virtue signal on Twitter, and he gets bodied by Elon Musk, who also knows that that is true. 1A, we live in a country with very diverse demographics. In this era where trust of businesses can be hard to come by, people tend to connect more easily with people who are like them. Having a workforce that is diverse and representative of your stakeholders is good for your business. You need to connect with people who are like you. You need to have people in your business who are like you, because that's how you create a good business culture, which is extremely important. I've come to learn. I think a lot of people overlook how important culture is when it comes to business. Culture is so important. Number two, equity. Treating people equally does not mean treating them the same. I made the mistake for a lot of years thinking it did. Equity is a core principle of business. Put your employees in a position to succeed, recognize their differences, and play to their strengths wherever possible. It is not a hard concept, but it is not easy to implement. Most workforces don't have the depth of management to do this well. When it's not done well, it can create tension and resentment. Number three, which is inclusion. One of my favorite sayings is that great employees reduce the stress of those around them. Great companies create environments that reduce unnecessary stress of their employees. I'm not talking hitting quota or getting the product out of the door stress, which in turn increases productivity. This is what inclusion is all about. I don't think that's what inclusion is all about, man. That this is just stupid. Making all employees, no matter who they are or how they see themselves, feel comfortable in their environment and able to do their jobs. Again, it's not easy. We all know that's not what they mean by inclusion. We all know this, but he's just lying. He's just virtue signaling, trying to make sense of, the agenda that they all trying to push on us, the same old stuff. Why is DEI like healthcare? One of the reasons I've learned in healthcare is that most CEOs don't know and don't really want to know where their healthcare benefit dollars are going. In their minds, it's not part of the core competency of their business. As a result, they waste a shitload of money on less than quality care for their employees. And more often than not, it's their sickest and lowest paid employees that subsidize the rebates and deductibles. Sicker employees have to pay up their deductible, healthy don't. So what does this have to do with DEI? Like healthcare, DEI is not seen as a core competency in most companies. It's just a huge expense. Intellectually, they see the benefit of DEI. They don't have time to focus on it. So it turns into a checkbox that they hope they don't have to deal with beyond having HR do a report to the board and legal tells them them, they are covered. When anything that impacts all of your employees is pretty much a checklist to the CEO, there's a good chance that it's not going to work well, and you're going to have employees who are not comfortable for a lot of different reasons, which in turn creates resentment towards DEI policies and training, which in turn makes it harder on the managers trying to implement it. When companies do DEI well, you see a well-run, successful company. And after this very, very longly worded thread from Mark Cuban in response to Elon Musk, we also have Elon Musk responding to the whole thing that kind of just trumps everything that Mark Cuban had to say, defending DEI and all the other BS that he tried to spew out in this long-ass thread. In response to the entire Mark Cuban thread on Twitter, Elon Musk responds to Mark Cuban and says, cool, so when should we expect to see a short, white, Asian women on the Mavs? And that's always the comeback. You can always just destroy all these people's arguments about diversity, equity, inclusion, all this other BS. You can always destroy it by just looking at their own companies. There's no reason why you would have short, white, or Asian women on the Mavs. There's no reason why you would have a woman in general, because they cannot compete in the marketplace. And the same thing goes in other areas of life. You know, there's certain things that men do better, certain things that women do better, certain things that black people do better, white people do better. That's just how life is, man. And I don't understand why we have to act like that's not the case. I'm glad we have people like Elon Musk out there. I'm not the biggest fan of everything that Elon Musk does, but he does stand up for certain things that I also believe in and I believe to be the truth, and things that should be common sense that have just kind of been lost, like things such as this. Like, why would we ever expect to see a short, white, Asian woman on the Mavs? We wouldn't. So why should people be expected to sacrifice certain qualities in order to hit these DEI quotas in other areas of business? You wouldn't do it for the Mavs. You wouldn't put a horrible product on the court just to hit these DEI quotas. Why should we do it in other areas of business that just make no sense? I think the best person, the best fit for the job, not always the most qualified, not always the best, but the best culture fit, the best fit within the company, person who's going to get the job done the best and improve the company the most, should be the ones that always get hired. Mark Cuban also thinks the same thing, because you don't become that successful without thinking that same thing. But of course, he's going to say something completely different because he wants to be part of the in crowd. He wants to also push this agenda onto us that everybody who is above him wants to push onto us, because he wants to be in that crowd. We all know what's going on here. So does Elon Musk. Elon Musk also thinks the same way, where you should just hire the best people for the job. Not always the most qualified, not always the best worker, but the best fit for that company, the person who's going to improve that company the most. That's who should be hired always, not the people who hit the DEI quotas like Mark Cuban is trying to say, when Mark Cuban doesn't even do that himself. Like Elon Musk said to Mark Cuban in response to this long-ass thread, when should we see short, white, Asian women on the Mavs? And obviously people love this reply. You can see all the people lives of TikTok laughing at it, mostly peaceful memes saying GOAT. Everybody loved this reply because it's just a short sentence that destroys the entire thousands of words that Mark Cuban wrote out in this Twitter thread. Let me know what you guys think about this whole DEI situation. Do you agree with Mark Cuban, or do you agree with Elon Musk and the rest of people like libs of TikTok, mostly peaceful memes, these other people? I obviously agree with Elon Musk on this one. Let me know what you're thinking about this whole Mark Cuban, Elon Musk situation in the comments.